All right, welcome to the weekly meeting. It is 12/16. Man, right before Christmas. Um, I'm glad everybody is still showing up, still grinding, still trying to change. Perhaps being the agent of change, for you and your family. Uh, Another year gone. Man, this is crazy. Um, I remember going into 2021. Here we are going into 2024. God, dog. Um, you know, it, Time is blowing by us, right? Um, Opportunities are showing up. They keep showing up, and they're gone. Um, the chance for you to have a successful 2023 is it's in the book. It is not possible, at this point. At this point, you are what you are. Maybe you're halfway there. Maybe you have you know broke even this year, which is awesome. Maybe you need to make a few tweaks, you know, uh, before you have a successful 2024. One thing I can tell you for sure is nothing changes if you don't change. So if you had an unsuccessful 2023 and you're doing the same thing, uh, I'll make the bold prediction to say you will have an unsuccessful 2024. Uh, Anything worth having is worth putting in the work, and it just requires some god dog work. That's the bottom line. Um, and most of you, if you're on this call, uh, I dare to say you have put in the chart time. You have the chart hours. So that ain't it. That ain't it. More chart time doesn't equal more success. Uh, that's a damn lie. Okay, more chart time for you is not going to equal more success. If you're brand new, you can disregard what I said. All right. More chart time will equal more success for a brand new person. But for the people that I know and I'm familiar with, the faces that I'm familiar with seeing, if you're not successful, you ain't successful by design, right? It's by design, by your design, right? Um, and I'm okay with saying that. Somebody has to say it. Might as well be me, and I'm saying it out of love. Uh, and at this point, hope that you make some changes. Okay. Um, I listened to the beginners podcast with your boy Calvin. Um, and the more I listen to that kind of stuff, the more I kind of glean from the various traders that he has on. And we all have the same things in common, man. We get information. And in my case, I started in Ruby's course, and it's just not good enough, right? We need more information. That what Ruby was saying did not make sense. It did make sense, and I made money. Ruby was nice enough to trade with me. With me, she actually called me, and we got on a call on election day, and I made a lot of money. So I can't blame uh, my my lack of success with her on anything that she did. All she did was share what she knew and what she was successful with. Her support and resistance. Uh, at the time, I didn't have the required discipline to find any consistency. Right. At that time, I didn't blame myself. I blamed that system. It was a crappy system, and a lot of times you'll still hear me say it's a crappy system. I do have that opinion, that support and resistance is a crappy system, but there are a bunch of people who've made a lot of money, and they have a lot more money than I have, and they trade that system. So the difference between me and those guys There are two differences. One is time, and the other is discipline, right? Uh, if I look across the spectrum in this group itself, the people who are successful, who have found success, are doing it because they're disciplined. That's it. The people who have not, they aren't disciplined. And this, I'm talking to the people with the times who put the chart hours in. You know, you got your 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours of chart time. That's all you need. You know, we all hear the same thing and see the same thing, right? Price is going to go down to a level, whether you call it supply and demand, whether you call it support and resistance, is going to a level. It's going to give you an order block. It's going to create that imbalance, and it's going to move away from that level. Eventually, it'll trade back to that level. You know, all of us know it. We all see it. We talk about it every week. And then we either blow our accounts because we're not patient enough to trade between those levels. We're not patient enough to wait for our confluence. We're not. Everybody knows to look for a chalk at that level that before they get in the trade. All of this stuff we talk about every week, right? So the ones who are successful are disciplined enough to wait for all those things to transpire, and the rest of us aren't, right? We FOMO, we get nervous, whatever the case may be, right? And then we go and we eat our chocolate cake and we party and we take our trips and whatever we do, right? We go live our lives. And chances are we don't write anything down. So by not journaling, at the end of the week, you never have to relive that car accident that you put yourself in. You never have to relive the bad decision that you chose to do. You know, back in the days when I used to womanize, man, go to the gym, get all crispy, get all cut, and look for my next victim, whether I was married or not. You know what I'm saying? Did what I did, got the next one. My girlfriend or my old lady found out, I'll be in hot water. I would have to relive those decisions, man. Relive those decisions. And you have to live in your funk, in your discomfort, in your failure, right? And at some point, you know, as a younger dude, it doesn't bother you. As you mature as a person, those failures bother you because you realize that you're judged on that. And when you're immature, you don't necessarily care who's judging you or what standard they're judging you by. Who gives a crap, right? But when it starts to affecting you, right? When you're in the army as a young person and you know, you're fresh out of whatever town you come to, and you got people from New York and Puerto Rico and all over the place, Guam. The army's a huge place. The longer you stay in the army, you start seeing the same people that you saw 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, and they all know you, right? Hey man, how was your wife? Oh, we got a divorce. Oh man, what happened? You know, now you're being judged. And eventually these same people that are judging you look at your name when it comes across a list, a promotion list. And they have to decide whether they're going to promote you to put you out there in front of other young people so you can mold them as they come into the military. And they sit and they think, well, dang, man, this dude has been in the army for 12, 13, 15 years. All all he's doing is screwing chicks. That's not really the example that I want to have out front, you know, training other people, influencing other people, you know. So this guy has zero self-discipline. We won't promote him, right? Think about these things, man, you know, as you go across your trading journey. And you know, we're insulated, right? We're in a bubble. There aren't a lot of people who we know personally who trade. That's why we are online right now. We don't go to our local trading club and sit and talk with other traders. We come in here and we talk amongst ourselves, and we fellowship amongst ourselves. We share a passion for this industry, right? And we all dream of riches, which is great, but it's deceiving. It's deceiving, It's dreaming of being rich, is the equivalent of you going and filling out your Walmart application and dreaming of owning Walmart. Bruh, that'll never happen, man. It'll never happen. You'll never own Walmart. Being a stocker at Walmart, that's achievable. Being a cashier, that's achievable. And now it's not, because they got rid of all the cashiers. But you got to start at the ground level, man. And you have to you got to put in the work. You can't be rich, bro. You're not gonna ever be rich, because you can't put a successful day together and add it to another day. You got to have 2 successful days, bro. Like, you got to get through a week of trading successfully, 1 week. Then you got to put that one successful week together with the next successful week. You can't do that. You don't even have a discipline to show the hell up. You applied for the Walmart job. You dreaming about being the CEO, but you can't put down the liquor enough to show up to work 2 days in a row. You can't be on time at work, doing the right thing at work successfully for 1 full week, and then put that together with a second successful week. Think about that. Think about that. Before you ever get the keys to a Lamborghini, bro, you got to get the keys to a Pinto. And you're not going to get it because you're not disciplined. You're not doing anything to change that. What are you doing to change it? What are you working on? How are you working on your discipline? What punishments are you setting there? We're a punitive people. If somebody does something to us, we want them to be punished. We want them to go to jail. We want them to pay a fine. How many fines have you paid? How much jail time have you sat through? Like, what is your punitive action, that's going to be a catalyst for you to change? And if you don't have the answer for that, then I can give you the answer to your trading career, bro. It was over before it began, right? You came to the wrong place. You came to the wrong place. This is not a place that rewards cheaters. It ain't gonna happen. It's just like a marriage, bro. Trust me, I tried. I've cheated the best. You know, I've been the slickest. I had a burner phone too. Eventually, you're gonna get caught. This is not a place for cheaters. So just log off, go do something else. I mean, you're not going to be rewarded. You're not going to find success, and you're not going to win, right? I'm just being honest. I'm being as truthful as I can. We're going into 2024, and that's the truth. Now, here's the flip side, right? Here's the flip side. There's a process. There's a process to everything. Eventually, you're going to see it, right? Eventually, you're going to see it, and eventually, you're going to go and you're going to try to change, right? None of that is ever going to happen until you start doing things differently. Start with the journal, and nobody likes to journal. If you're not a journaler, you're not just going to wake up one day and love to journal. It's not going to happen. So just start trying. Like, hold yourself accountable. I'm going to journal every day, and you're going to skip some days. And then when you see those blank days, go back and fill them in the best you can. Eventually, you'll start keeping track, because that journal is the only way you're going to have to relive your bad decisions. It's the only way you're going to have to relive the FOMO. It's the only way you're going to have to relive whatever emotion kept you out of the trade, right? And just off the top of my head, I was talking about, I've been talking about oil for the last month. Maybe it's, I don't know, a month or 2 days or 2 weeks, uh, to start, DCA in the oil, and a lot of people don't know what that look like. Get you a 0.01, right? It starts cooking, hedge it, right? Uh, Eventually, you'll learn how to trap the equity, right? And then you just hold on to it until it starts moving. And lo and behold, it starts moving, right? It's the same as the indice. Once it gets close to your moving averages, or your trend line, or whatever you're using, buy it, right? Um, Once you start learning these things, then you'll start making decisions today that's going to pay off in 3 months, right? Because there are people in this group that have the ability to look at the long range charts and see, okay, price is going here, right? So now it takes away the FOMO, or the worry about having to be right on a 15-minute chart, or having to be right on a 4-hour chart, right? You can put this little lot size in, and you can let that thing marinate until it starts turning in your direction. Got to make some changes, right? That's what the little rant is about. If you're not going to make changes, just quit. Go do something different, bro. Like, you got to make changes, because you've proven to yourself that the person you are is not is not good enough to make money. The person you are is not good enough, right? Um, as a married guy, I would have been, I would be a fool to justify my cheating. And look, listen, for years, for years I did. It made sense to me. I mean, that might sound foolish to a lot of you, but it made sense to me. It didn't make me a successful husband, you know. Um, but it made sense. It made me feel okay. So your excuses aren't going to make you a successful trader in that same line. And I know y'all might be tired of hearing me compare trading to relationships, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the same thing, bro. Like, I know it is. I know
Let
it's
me let me let me help you out. Let me help you out.
yeah.
Just one little thing. I didn't even cheat and I got wrecked. My excuses didn't mean anything still. And I did it right and still got wrecked. Let me just drop that one on
Everything that we do, everything that we do in this space should be revisited, right, wrong, or indifferent. Because if we do something that rewards us, right? OG got in gold on the wick when it wicked the lows. You got to revisit that, because the success that you come off, I mean, that you get off of that, you know, you need to bag that up or bottle that up, so you can pop the top every time you need that success. And the failures that you come across in this market, you have to get rid of those those the things that made you unsuccessful in order for you to go to the next level. If we don't ever do that, then you're going to be like a consolidating market. You're going to be going up and down. You're going to have highs and lows, because you don't know what to repeat. You don't know. Believe you me, you want to write um, this info down. You want to write a successful plan. You only want to trade when you see your grade A setup. Um, I dropped a video in one of the deals with a TFT trader. She was an Egyptian girl. She trades US 30. And she makes a lot of money. And when she was talking in our interview, she trades dumb money. And I always laugh at people that trade dumb money. But one thing that she said that stuck to me, like peanut butter sticks to your ribs, is she goes back and at the end of the week and goes over her trades. And then she goes back at the end of the month and goes over her trades. So the same way we do order blocks, that's how she does her trades. And she said most of the highest trade count that she had in a month was 6 trades. Bruh, 6 trades. That was her highest month in 2023. 6 trades. I'm just going to leave that right there because a lot of people have 6 trades in a day. Less is more in this business, and don't let anybody tell you different. Um, Less is more. The less you participate, the more you can keep in your pocket. All right. Um, y'all have any questions, any comments?
I just sit back and laugh. I do it every time.
I agree.
No fear. No fear. Like you gotta do it. You have to do it. We're gonna be here. So as long as we're here, you gotta take your turn. People don't want to take their turn. I understand it. I understand. They don't feel comfortable. They don't feel confident. We know all the excuses and all the answers. In forex and what we do, we have the answers. It's not life at that point. We can find the answers every time, but you have to want to find the answers. If you keep holding yourself to your own faculties, you're going to plateau, and you can't plateau. You have to compound. Your actions will reflect compounding, but you're blocking yourself. You can't block yourself. You got to get out there.
and why yeah, why be scared when you have people that have done it already, people that are doing it, that you can say, hey man, how did you do X, Y, and Z? And to me it's really about more than asking. I mean, asking is cool, but at this point, I venture to say that we all know, like, there's nobody that's keeping secrets. We know the key to success. The question is, why aren't you doing what you need to do to be successful? Ask a friend to ask a friend.
Yeah.
Uh, Leandra said she likes when the girl said that she was patient and she shows up and waits for her setup. If there are no setups, she don't trade. Uh, this is very important. She's she still shows up in journals. She says she like to watch price action. You know, that's critical. That's critical. Like, if you're trading any concept that I talk about or that ICT talks about, whoever your favorite trader is, whatever trading style you're trying to emulate, how many times do you show up just looking for your setup, journaling it?
The group chat is a journal. You can do your whole analysis live in people's face. You can do what you say you want, and then you can navigate yourself into your 78 on the chat thread. So that is a journal. So you guys have been seeing us journaling, right? How far do we go in our journaling? All the way to the point, to the wick. The journaling is to the wick, to the deep retracement. So you can take your trade in front of everyone. You're doing it now, right? Now you're successful. Now you want to keep doing it because you see how easy it is and you want people to know what it is. And now you can't be quiet. We know when you got it because we see what you post.
All right, I want to go over really two things, right? I'm going to go over what we always go over. You know, I believe in the power of repetition, but I also want to look at these wicks, man. Um, I I think that once you start seeing this, then this will be very difficult for you to unsee. And you know, I always look at these weekly charts because this is where I start my analysis every week. What happened the last week? Um, if I look at AC, right? AC had a bearish order block. We expected to push up and push down. You know, no, we got a lot of important news, and we'll talk about that here coming up. But the first thing I noticed when I looked at this chart was they ran the highs, right? And you know, if you study ICT, the dude is notorious about paying attention to what happens with these wicks.
Equal highs. Sorry.
But even when they run those highs, to me, it's a telltale sign, right? All we got to do is look at the bottom with this wick, and they run the lows. Immediately, the market pushes up. Now they run the highs. We can expect the market to push down. If I look at this on the monthly, and I just did this just because I wanted to see, like, what are we trying to accomplish here, right? So I look at this on the monthly. I see we wick the high of last month's candle, right? There's an imbalance right here. I'm going to move this, and I thought I did this earlier. I probably did. I'm going to move this marker, my alert, up to this imbalance. And I'm going to drop down to the 4-hour. If I squeeze this stuff together, if this is the imbalance that we need to close, I know that we're going to get that move. We're going to close the imbalance, which lines up with a 4-hour imbalance, a consequent encroachment. But if we push further down, here's some equal lows that your boy ICT talks about. And was that Ish? Did you say equal lows, Ish?
Yes.
Yeah,
Equal highs. I don't know if you guys, I think we always talk about it. For me, you don't have to mark your charts like me, but I always say I put a purple line where I see those equal highs because I know that's going to be a target.
it's got to get ran
Equal highs, equal lows. Yep.
up here. I'm with you. So just like they
Yep.
ran these highs, look, man, I like this. This is a target on the other side. And the funny thing is, this target is in a zone. If I put a fib on this move right here, from this wick, well, I don't care if you do wicks or not, you know, wicks or bodies. But if I put a fib on this zone, it's these equal lows are at my 62. There's a 4-hour order block. There's another imbalance down here that I have highlighted at the 78. There's a great chance that all this stuff will get hit. All I'm saying is, if you only take a setup based on wicks, if you only take a setup based on an order block, if you only take a setup based on whatever you're taking it, if you only take those setups, you might have 3 or 4 trades that month. But they're going to be winners, dude. They're going to be 7%. You might get 2 positions in this one trade, and you might make 22%. Sit on your hands, bruh, for a week. Sit on your hands. And we'll find another setup the next week that's going to give the same opportunity. If you can just do that, you can really go tell somebody that you make Madoff, you doing Madoff numbers, because that's what this is doing. These setups, we pick them out every week. All right, I was looking at at, at this EN trade because well, for a lot of reasons. But whenever we expected price, if I come here to this weekly chart and when I go in back and I look at the times that I expected price to start cooking off the weekly chart, if I go to the daily and I get the daily order block, it cooks. Daily order block, it cooks. Daily order block, it cooks. Daily order block, I'm expecting it to cook. All of this stuff, man, it's really elementary, right? If you think about this is the 2-week order block. It was bearish. Price poodoo for the next 2 weeks, right? You can Google poodoo, but price poodoo. If I drop down 2 time frames from the 2-week, I can drop down to the weekly. Nothing. The daily. Now that daily order block matches my 2-week order block. That means it's time to cook. And maybe I can get my entry on the 1 hour, or if you know what you're doing, you can get it on the 15-minute, but it's a very good trade setup, man. If I drop down to this 15-minute, in my zone, I have this big imbalance. If we break and go up, there's this big imbalance. 2 great trade entries. At the bottom, we got a push down. We got the chop going on. Pulls back, gives you an entry. Now we're going to push up one of these areas. Be patient. Once you get in this trade, it's going to cook. When it cooks, you can tighten up your stop loss. You can get a better risk reward. If you just don't care about your risk reward, if you look at this is a 7.75, almost 400 pips. Pretty high quality. Where is it going? Oh, imbalance. Bro, like this kind of stuff is what we point out at the end of every freaking week, right? We'll run these lows. All you got to do is squeeze your chart. This could be TP2 right here, and this could be where you get out of the trade. And if you know anything about these EN and GN, you know they cook with Crisco when they move. So it won't be nothing to run 600 pips in a week. It run 200 pips up and 300 pips down like it's nothing. Big moves, they're out here all the time. Some people don't believe in trading at these times. Like they don't take any trades because they listen to what people tell them. Listen, I don't care what time of year it is. I'm gonna trade in the setup. I don't need the market to move fast, slow, or in between. I just need the setup to be there. I do want liquidity to be in the market, but this type of setup I'm taking, right? I think that's a pretty high quality setup. Those are just 2 examples. We got 1 million order blocks. Let's talk about these interest rates. Let's talk about the indices. And let me see. Let's look at this US 30 real fast, because I think it's important to see this and kind of understand what's going on. I'm going to put the monthly chart on because this is very important. Most people probably were young in 2008. I was an old dude in Iraq, and I didn't really understand the market. In 2008, we had a housing bubble that broke the financial system. The market crashed, right? The US 30 went from 14K down to 6. Let that sink in. The US 30 lost half. The US 30 went through a divorce. You know, we call that financial ruin. And I know women don't know much about it, but dudes who've been through divorce and had something, you know, I never had none, but if you've been through divorce and you had something and you lost half, it would be devastating. So the market lost half, over half. And I don't know what the interest rates were before then, but they were zero. They've been zero since then. Once they dropped the interest rates to zero, the second quarter of fiscal year 2009, the market started pushing up. Zero interest rates, the market climbs. It climbed all the way until COVID. From COVID, the highs were 29K. It drops all the way down to 18K. 29 to 18, not quite half, but it's still going through a divorce. That's crappy. Still interest rates is at zero. The market pushes all the way up to 36.9, right? Now they say we're going to raise interest rates. The Fed raises interest rates, the market crash. Went from 37 down to 28, lost 10K off raising interest rates. Now, I know we were still hiking interest rates in 2022, but people aren't stupid. We can't hike them forever. And what happened is you start getting those CPI reports and that inflation number starts trickling down. Now people are starting to put their money back into the US 30 because they don't want to wait until now. They wanted to put money in here because they know we're going to push past. They know we're going to push past the high point, right? They knew we were going to push past the high point. So they didn't want to be guilty of not putting money like the hedge funds or whatever. They knew that the Fed would eventually have to say, we're done raising interest rates. So the market starts pushing up and it goes sideways, right? It goes sideways for months. It gets a little bump, right? Pulls back to let you in. And now we have this explosion. The significance of what happened in the FOMC this past week is this. For the first time in 2.5 years, the Fed chairman was dovish instead of hawkish. He was dovish. He basically admitted that we are at we're at restrictive policy, right? So officially, you should only look for buys, right? You should only look for buys. How you go about doing that really needs to be something that you develop, right? Whether you're doing it on the daily chart, on the 12-hour chart, on the 4-hour chart, right? This is when you can draw your trend line, use your moving average. When price pulls to your line, you buy, you DCA in there. And, you know, if you trade in a personal account, that probably looks like a 0.01, right? Most brokers allow you to trade minis, pick up you a few contracts, a 0.30 on the mini, a 0.40 on the mini. You know, a month later, trust me, it's going to be higher. Because everybody knows that the interest rates aren't going to rise. The economy isn't doing great. It's not. It's not. And the corrections that we see now are going to be due to like events, bad earnings, things like that. It's not going to be due to interest rate raising. So your corrections will kind of be talk like people will talk about it. It'll run for a few months, then people will start talking about correction, and that's when you got to start really paying attention. But until then, you can, kind of DCA in here and get you a decent return, or you can start holding your positions and letting them run for a time period, right? Because if you look over those months, if you would DCA'd into an indice in April after the COVID hit, then bruh, you could still have that position open. You guys have any questions? Any comments? All right, awesome. So what is Q? What is what? This is what QL. What is Q?
Quality of life.
Quarter
Oh,
level.
Oh, quarter level?
Yeah.
Quality of, yeah, life is quarters. Quality of life. Quarter level.
Quarter levels become very important because you've got nothing on, no history on the left hand, so you have to just.
sure. We're hitting high after high.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Your stop losses in profit.
You see how it's retesting the neckline? It used to be resistance, now it's support. Right. So every time it breaks one of these highs, you can look at it as a new support. It's going to break resistance, retest resistance as support by every level. If we're in a bull market, then you catch every retracement. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
It really is. It's however you plot your chart, man. Like, you're going to see many opportunities. Um, it's these are unprecedented times. We now have the experience that we've traded these several different markets. We've traded a recession. We've traded interest rates. We've traded war. So here we go. Now you'll be able to trade lowering of interest rates. All of this stuff you can put in your toolkit. All right, oil. I briefly hit on oil. We talked about it. We had a bullish order block here. Price has pushed in. It looks like we're wicking the low down here, as expected. I don't think any of us expect oil to stay at the $70 range. I think we all expected oil to go up, especially with the stuff that's going on in the Middle East. And on this weekly chart, this is the first, I'll call it bullish candle. You get the hammer. I know we don't trade candlestick patterns, but you should be relieved to see a bullish candle at support, right? If you look across here, this has been the level, forever, and now you got your bullish candle. If you got in, you got in. If not, you're not going to be at the bottom, but this is still a great time to get in if price pushes back up, even if it just pushes back up $10. But I expect price will push up higher than that, but it is what it is. There's ample opportunity for price to push up. I read the other day that price push up because they attacked the oil tanker. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I knew the oil tanker was going to get attacked a couple of weeks ago when I was saying get in the oil, but whatever the case, whatever the news event is, we knew it was going to happen.
in laying in regards to patience, when you don't even follow oil and then you run into someone who's been following oil and now you've been out of it, you didn't get wrecked. Now you have the opportunity to get in at the right position. When we come to these meetings, there's a lot going on. Like the value of what we do here, like we're putting you in prime position on multiple pairs. So you get a chance to deal with the indices, you get a currency, you get a metal, you get crypto, you get everything here. Now you can widen your horizons and you can catch pairs and understand when your pair is not tradable, go to one that is. Now you have all these different pairs that you follow through the group. And now you can go to the pair that you like. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody who knows what it is. The people who don't know that are coming in, we're dropping you right into the business. You got to get on it. And that is a cup and handle, by the way. The handle goes way through resistance. This is textbook.
It's time. Everybody got an opportunity to make a little.
Look at the leg in the corner. That leg up in the corner, that's what this is trying to do. It's telling you the whole route, how it's going to go up. It's doing it right over there in the corner, all the way to resistance. Once the war kicks in, you're going to see the big green candles. And that's it. She out of there.
It's a wrap. That's perfect. Only thing I'm missing is that line that says this is on the weekly level. This is that chalk, you know. Chalk. Anyhow, you know, the opportunity for you to get your analysis on is great. All right. I think I saw a lot of these pair too. Let's talk about the dollar and that news. Okay, last week we talked about the dollar pushing up to this imbalance, right? And then we get this non interest rate push and the dollar tanks. So the dollar's is wicked out close to the 78, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we come down here to the 78. And I'm still biased for the dollar catching some gas and pushing back up. I get it. The Dixie has a bearish order block, so you can look for it to push up at the first of the week and then push down, right? There's an imbalance at about 101, 101.68 to 101.15. I wouldn't be surprised if we find support or a reason to push up, and you know, and I think that'll be the last push up because I think we'll start selling from this area. But my point is this: if I look at the news, right? We already know what JPY monetary policy is going to be. We know what that's going to be. Nothing. They're not raising nothing. They're -10. So, and then a press conference, I expect everything, all that big sell-off we have, I expect them to get that right back or give half of it right back, 300 pips or whatever. And when I look down this list, I'm circling this CPI for the British pound. I'm looking for good news here for the consumer confidence. Y'all spend money regardless. I don't know what the final GDP number is, but I think it will be decent. Whatever's going to take the dollar down, maybe it will be unemployment claims and revise whatever, but I think that'll be later on in the week. It's going to push the dollar down. Let me see this GDP number. Okay. So I know we got a bullish order block on Euro USD. I'm bothered by it. Don't really care for the setup. I can't stop unseeing this low right here that was broken and price trading back up into, right? Maybe this imbalance. Maybe. But the fact that we wicked here and then we couldn't break that high bothers the heck out of me. I know we got a bullish order block, but you know, I expect a pullback, and then maybe it pushes up not quite as high. I don't know. Something like this. Maybe we pull back to this imbalance and we try to push up and we maybe go into this imbalance. That's still 100 and some pips, but I think trying to reach this imbalance might be a stretch. I'm personally not trading that. I think there are better trade setups for me. And if it does what I think it's going to do, this will probably be a double top and we'll probably move lower. And I'm just looking at the structure on this weekly chart, right? And I see a shoulder, I see a head, and I see another shoulder. I see how when we dipped down, we broke this swing low and we broke this swing low. So in my head, this is the target, which in my head lines up with the Dixie target at the 10. I don't know, 107.
Right.
So that's just in my head. Now you trade it the way you see it. I'm just telling you what I see and what I think. Those are my opinions, but proceed with caution.
Well, consider the monetary policy in regards to the U.S. specifically not printing money. This is a very long time for it to not print, right? Now, they're trying to restrict the Fed from printing. So that's what's going on. They're being told not to print. If they print, we know it's supply of dollars. That means the dollar goes down. Now, when it starts heading down, we haven't passed a budget, right? There's disbursements that the country is waiting for. And until the Fed or until the country decides on what it really wants to do, they're not going to print. So if they're being told not to print, we're in a contraction. They are not printing. They're supposed to print. They've built it up to where they kind of have to print. So because they're not doing that, we're in a contraction of no printing. So as soon as the printing happens, we're going to see it in the dollar. It's just going to, because it hasn't been touched in a while. It's going to need supply. As soon as that supply happens, bearish, 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 bearish. That should skyrocket the market. So it only makes sense. But if they do anything other than that, this is what we're all going to see for the first time because we haven't been in a position like this before, especially as traders. So we're going through this together. And you need to know when they print. You're probably going to see it in the candles before you see it in the news feed. And it should be within the next couple of weeks. So we're heading into it. This is what the Santa Claus rally is supposed to be. We had a crazy spike to the upside. So if we get a Santa Claus rally, it's going to be insane. But best believe it's not going to stay there. It's going to come back, and it's going to come back fast. But it'll be at resistance now. Now the resistance that we're looking at right now will become support. That means 2,100 for gold. It goes up to 2,250. It comes back down and tests 2,100 as support now. That's what this would look like if it goes correctly.
All right, let's talk about goo. And I like the goo chart better than I think this is a more accurate depiction. And we just go ahead and start where we left, where we just talked about as far as AC, because to me, wicks don't lie. It's like ball don't lie, wicks don't lie. We had a bearish order block, just like we did in AC. We wicked this high. The market had every opportunity to end with a bullish order block on the right side of the moving average. For whatever reason, it didn't. It didn't. It took the liquidity from the high. This is equal highs, as East would say, and it ran those highs right here. It didn't maintain. It gave you a double top. It pushed through. It gave you a 4-hour closure below the moving average. So all I'm missing is my little markup here that says chalk. And I could expect a pullback, a sell-off. Here's your first imbalance. Here's a low. Here's some relative equal lows. Here's your other imbalance. To me, this is a easy work, right? Even if you just trade down to this first imbalance, that's 175 pips. You'd have to work on your stop loss. But whenever it turns and gives you a chalk on the lower time frame, you can adjust your stop loss. That's 175 pips. To these equal lows, you got 238. And if it pushes down to these lows, that's 365, right? If it closes the imbalance, over 400. I think there's real opportunity to short long the dollar pretty much. And to me, the wicks give it away. I didn't look at AU and NU. I don't really trade those often, but same thing, man. Y'all see, you see the structure on NU. AU structure gave you equal highs, but you can see the bearish order block. You see the wick that took liquidity from these last two candles. If I look at this on the weekly, this gives you a bullish order block. But I would not be surprised if it pushes down and ends up either bearish or prices just down at the bottom. Trade these with caution. If y'all trade AU, I don't really mess with AU. But I think this, let me see what NU's. NU's is not going to be the same. Well, that is a bullish order lot. But the wicks, in my opinion, tell the story. If you're trading this, do what you got to do. Be careful, be cautious. I mean, who knows? Maybe NU and AU will be on the opposite side of GU and EU. Maybe we'll get some divergence there. But again, if you're trading this is a bullish order block. And at the end of the day, they might have formed this bullish order block to try to push through this bearish order block. This is a bullish order block too. So maybe these two pair will end up pushing up. I know I have to go back and relook at at the AUD news. But I don't like AUD to be strong. I like AUD as a weaker pair. All right, let's talk about these JPYs because all of them pretty much did the same thing. The yen got stronger, and they got stronger on the dollar weakness. You know, if there's trouble in America or trouble with the American economy, the number one economy, the yen will get stronger. So everything will sell off, and we got that big run down, right? For those of you who know about inside bars, y'all know about inside bars? Brad, does anybody know what an inside bar is?
No, we don't.
I know they got some shorts.
We've definitely seen it before.
You don't got the volume.
Y'all can't hear it?
Nah.
It's just playing music, but let me see. Let me see what's up with the volume. Y'all can see it, but you can't hear it.
Yeah.
What is going on? Can you hear now?
No.
You'd almost have to go back in and come back out. There's something wrong with the way you open Zoom. So if he's not saying much, then it ain't gonna matter.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's no talking. It's just music playing. You said I'm gonna have to go in Zoom and come back out. We can't do all that, but
Right.
but this is an inside bar, pretty much. All right, and I can explain it back to the chart. So an inside bar is you have a candle that goes down or up and it retraces. The next candle opens, pushes up or down inside into the candle, and the low of the candle is inside of the previous candle. This can happen on the highs too, right? You can have a candle that's engulfed in the previous candle. And this is at a level of support, right? This is at the bottom. You can see all these wicks down here. So it's a reasonable chance that price is going to push up. And in this case, we know it's going to push up because it ran down all these pips. And every JPY pair pushed down, right? If I look at the 2-week chart, all these JPY pairs pushed down very heavily. And the inside bar is the one I noticed on EJ. So here's one on CJ. There, it's going up. If you look at the inside bar strategy, it is based on the lack of push from this candle. It was exhausted. There was a lack of push. I think most people were thinking. Most people were thinking that we were going to get a push up in the JPY pairs. I think most of us were kind of expecting that, and it didn't. We have a bearish order block on Euro JPY, so I do expect that to push down, but at some point down here is going to turn around. And what it may be is it just might turn on that yen money policy. That's probably what's going to happen. And let me see what time that news is again. Monday at 5:30 p.m. That's AUD and then JPY. So it might just push up in anticipation for this. I don't know, but I would look for this at the first of the week, Sunday, Monday, for the JPYs to push up. And I do think it's going to be a temporary push up because I think we broke these lows down here. So I think we got our little chalk. I think we'll trade back up into the imbalance and then get the pushing. And if we don't trade way back up here, this is 400 pips. So the imbalance that I have it stopping at is this one right here, right? And I would look for the next leg to the downside. I am still very bearish. I'm bearish on these JPYs, right? I'm bearish on the JPYs because I think there's a reasonable. I mean, we all know that the U.S. economy is not as strong as it was, right? And there's good reason. We raised those interest rates, and now we got to start paying the piper. No interest rates. The JPY has moved with the dollar to the top side. Now that we're pausing and eventually cutting, we can expect for the dollar to start coming back down to earth. And though everything that went up with the dollar will start coming back down to earth eventually. Any questions? All right. Does anybody want to share and break down their pair with their trading? Bruh. I didn't even talk about the gold, but you see what gold is doing. Gold is ready to blast up. Bullish order block, happen. It's time to roll. If you ain't on the gold hype train with OG and his crew, get on the gold hype train. We'll come down, look at mitigating this imbalance. Maybe we'll get back to the 2000, but after that, it's blast off. Great opportunities. It'll be great opportunities.
Gold is going to make everybody $1 million. I don't see how they can't make $1 million. I don't care which way it goes. We are on it. Like we are in.
Nobody want to break down the chart.
It'll come.
Bruh.
We still do what we do regardless, right? So, but it's so simple. Like when you can speak healthy price action, it just takes you to another level. And, it's just like public speaking. Nobody wants to be a public speaker. They don't know how to do it. We see it and we're like, okay, well, how do you do that? Well, you got to be real. First of all, it got to come out of you, right? There's no faking. That's why people don't want to get up there. They don't want to be held accountable for them words. But it's going to have to happen. Like, because if you're successful, you're not going to want to keep it in. And now you got to speak because people want to know. And you're the only one that can tell them. So that's how it goes for anything that you're successful in.
Yeah, East dropped all of the OBs. We have great opportunity, guys. US 30 is bullish on the 2-week. I didn't even talk about the CAD, man. Let me run that the GBP CAD and EUR CAD. CAD has news coming out, but we know oil is going up. GBP CAD, bruh. CAD is cooking, man. We got a daily bearish order block, a 2-week bearish order block. Bro, like this is lying up. Like your favorite barber couldn't edge this up. Like this is ready.
Hey.
You got your setup on the 2-week. You got your entry signal on the daily. It's time to get in the trade. But we know we can wait for the pullback on the daily. You just fill that daily candle the same way you do it. And you know, this is exactly what I would do. I would just if you're trading this, right? Fib this daily candle. You gotta be real. I would highlight my my golden zone. I would mark my 70, my 78. I think I got a ray. No, I didn't get a ray. I would mark my little 78. I would delete my Fibonacci. I would drop down 2 time frames from that daily. And in my zone, I have this imbalance. I got the order block. That's pretty much it. I think it's either that imbalance or that order block. Yeah, on the 1 hour, there's an imbalance here. But I think that this is going to be the top of that imbalance is at the 62. So if I drop down here, guys, you can be the hunter. Bro, you can be the hunter right here. Like you have the opportunity to be the Jason, to be the serial killer, to be the, you know, you can be the person sitting here like the IRS, man, like waiting to tax that, you know, like, you know, tax somebody. So if you don't want to buy this up, you know, a lot of times that gets people in trouble. If you don't want to buy this up, if you don't have that skill set to buy this up, you can just set your alarm. You can right click, set your alarm. Your alarm is going to go off at some point, you know, and then you can be the person sitting there with the mask and the knife or the mask and the gun, the pistol sticking up GU, right? You can stick it up. And maybe this is a breaker. I don't know. Is Alicia on the call? Y'all to trade them breakers. Price could very well hit this breaker right here and push down. But you can be the person holding the gun. And the setup is going to run. Double top, push up, can't break it. We already broke these lows. I'm trading this sucker back down to this low at least. But I'm really looking at these lows. With this push down, we broke these lows. It's telling us it wants to go lower. So I know I'm going to get this low, and there's a high likelihood that the move is going to take out these lows too. So here is 989 pips available. Brett, you can't make it up. 989 pips.
We're gonna have to get paid for this eventually. It's coming because it's inevitable. We're doing it for free, but people are gonna get paid.
Right.
This is
it's I don't know, man. Like if you don't see it, you don't see it. But I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. Whew. I don't get it. This setup is not as clean, but I expect the same thing, right? We got the chalk down here. We pushed up. Some of y'all say we broke this high, which is cool, but we didn't break this high. So if I look at this as a push down and then a pullback, we didn't break the high. I expect us to at least push to this low and then these imbalances. The same as GC, but I definitely like the GC setup. Prince, Prince talked about he liked the UJ setup. Prince, you're the only one that are you the only one that trading UJ? Is anybody else trading UJ?
Oh yeah.
I am.
Yeah, I trade it. I haven't traded it since it's dropped, but it's pushing back up to the 50%.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do what it did like 3 days. If you go back to the daily, it went up 2 candles to that. Like you see right there, it dropped down and it went up those 2 green candles and dropped again. I'm hoping to do something like that right there.
I would start with
that
this. I would start with this 2-week candle, and I would fib the 2-week candle, and then look to see what you're giving, like this big imbalance here. And I would like to see price fill this imbalance before it pushes down. That's where I would personally start. I have this level marked because that's where you got your chalk. I know we broke this low, but now we just need to trade up into this imbalance. Maybe we don't quite close it completely, but I would definitely look at that imbalance and target that imbalance. To me, 171 pips, 200 pips is awesome. 300 pips is better. And maybe you'll get that with EJ, maybe you won't. But I would definitely be looking, looking for that imbalance to be filled.
If you look on the daily where the MAs are, and you can see that price would need to come close to those MAs, and then
I agree. It can possibly break those MAs.
Yeah, it can, but if you fib it on the 2-week, then you see that is the 50% where the MAs are. Well, it comes into the golden zone, but it comes into the 50%. I was just doing it by eye, and then I actually did it, marked it up, and then it was correct. But yeah, I'm seeing it come back up and then sell off again.
It's gonna be a good little cook session. Bitcoin has finally met a little resistance at this weekly order block. It's pulled back. I don't know how long that this pullback is going to last. Maybe we just go down and close out an imbalance here. I think eventually it needs to go to 32. I don't know if this is going to be the push that gets us down to 32. It's probably some fundamental stuff that needs to happen before we push that low. But on the lower time frames, you can definitely see that it is, the tides are turning, right? But I would look at these swing lows, right? I would just, if you're trading Bitcoin, because I don't really trade it. I know we have people that do, but I would trade it just to these lows, right? And then maybe if it breaks these lows, then trade it to this imbalance. I would just have to take this a step at a time, and maybe look at this trend line liquidity. If it breaks these lows, just draw you a trend line across here, because this is definitely trend line liquidity if it keeps pushing down. The fib tells me that it should, that we should expect a pullback to this area and then this area. But these indices and Bitcoin, a lot of that may not, we may not get those pullbacks every time, because a lot of these things like Bitcoin and those indices especially is traded by those huge companies, And a lot of times when you have money piling into these things at these levels, you know, especially when they hear stuff like the Fed getting dovish after such a long time being hawkish, you know, so much money might pile into these things that you might get imbalances on the monthly chart, right? And these imbalances we might look at 2 years from now and be like, hey man, you know, we can see the expansion that happened at the end of 2023 at the in the first of 2024. It might be 2 or 3 long green candles that get us out of here. And that might end up being the imbalance that started the rally.
You remember, as far as the banks, whenever there's a problem with the banks, Bitcoin goes up. Whenever they save the banks, crypto goes down, right? So we're in a possibility that the three-headed monster, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Chase, may be going under. That's going to take Bitcoin to 75K. Now, if just one bank goes down, it's going to take it to 50. So we need to see, because we're about to see this year what's going to happen with the banks. We're already hearing the rumors. So you see that it's elevating. So as you're watching that, watch for the banks to fail, because when they fail, you buy Bitcoin, that or whatever crypto you're trying to buy, right? We're not out of the woods, so it can be very, very stormy. That means Judas swings. So be careful. We know it's bullish, right? But how do you enter, right? You got to enter on a pullback. So you got to watch it. Anytime a bank fails or anything like that, you're going to see a super spike and then a pullback. Then it helps you get into the trade. Now you're not missing it. All right. You want it to be bought somewhere down here, because in 20 years, you're not going to be looking at these prices ever again. Not even in 5 to 10 years. Very key right here.
Any questions, comments? All right then, Brad. I'd catch y'all on the market streets.
I have a question.
What's up? Hello?
I sent it to you. Can you fib like the opposite direction, or do you want to hold off on that? Because I think you said last week
The opposite direction for what?
for a bearish OB. Like when we had our meeting, I want to say with Selena, I could be lying. You were saying how you wanted to show us how to fib the other direction.
In a bearish OB.
Yeah, so like we were going over AC with Selena,
You said
and
AC?
you told me where it's going to sell to, and you're like, you're supposed to fib the other move.
You saying AC?
Mm-hmm.
And I said you got to fib the other, like where it's selling to.
Yeah,
So maybe like from here to here.
right.
Um,
I'm just trying to understand like what time frame do we do that on?
well, I think that it depends on when you're fibbing. So if I know that price came here,
Mm-hmm.
up, came back down, right? That's a pullback. Now price went up here, and now it's showing me that it's wicking. Then I'll just fib from this bottom to this top, and that'll give me an area that I need to look at. So if I highlight this area, and of course this box will be my zone. Let me just remove this. And if I look at that area that I highlighted, it lines up with this area that it basically lines up with the area that the price needs to come. And you can see the imbalance in that area. There are equal lows at the 62. I mean, you see the imbalance? Let me hide these MAs real fast. You see the imbalance right here?
Yeah.
So to me, it's 1,000 degrees of confluence. Imbalance that needs to be filled. I filled both directions. If I look at the monthly candle, let me go back to the monthly. There's a case for price. Price came from here. See the red candle?
Yeah.
Here's the green candle. The top wick of the green candle is where this dotted line is. Then we get the momentum candle, pushes the market up. The next candle, what does it have to do? Come down and touch wicks, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, it hasn't touched wicks. So maybe that's why the candle is going to push down and touch the wick. If it doesn't touch wicks, then it leaves an imbalance. And leaving an imbalance is okay. But if the market is showing us that it wants to push down, prices closing below our 4 hours is saying, hey, we're going to push down. The likely area is first these lows, then the imbalance. This is the monthly imbalance. And oh, by the way, it might just go ahead and fill in this imbalance. Then there are equal lows. The liquidity on the chart, is basically all we're looking at, right? The first level of liquidity will be the first low, then this low, then this low, right? Then this low, then the imbalance, then these lows, then the order block, then imbalance. So you could just take it to these levels. And it just depends on what information you're getting from the chart. And the information I got was that wick. This wick tells me that price is going south. And maybe you're not there yet as a trader, but when you start paying attention to these wicks, you're going to see that when you get those wicks, it's a telltale sign. ICT says the wick on the daily chart. Why? Ask yourself, if price is coming up, curling around, and pushing down, what need is it for this wick? Why would price do this? There's no reason for this, except to take the people who were short already out of the market.
You see it on multiple pairs, like it's contagion. You see it, right? It's a 6-month trend, maybe a yearly trend, maybe a 2-year trend, something around the year mark. And we know that because that's how money moves. So when you see the sweep candle, you got to be careful because we know what a sweep candle is supposed to do. Now, how can we say that the market is going to continue to go bullish if we got a sweep candle? It's got to sweep the sweep candle. So if it's not a sweep, then it's going to go bullish, yes. But if it is a sweep, then the market's going to tank. So you just have to weigh it as you pay attention, right? We're going to get the answer in a couple of weeks. So,
and if you're looking at this line right here could represent chalk. The market comes up, gives you a bottom, takes the liquidity from the top, breaks your low, which is a chalk, pulls back to give you pole position, but it took everybody out first. And now we should get the push down. This will be our first target, these lows. Then this low. Then this imbalance. Then this low. Then this order block. This is an untapped zone right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you.
You're welcome. Man, now we see this clearly, huh? We look at the 6-month chart. We know it. We know what time it is. Bearish order block. Tap in. Let's go.
It was a great year, and what's going to happen this year is going to be insane. I mean, it's going to enhance. You have no choice but to enhance. You're going to be better than you were last year. Every new day you get, every new candle you get under your belt is going to be making you more experienced. So this year is going to be pretty impressive. The people that are showing improving right now, there's no doubt about it, right? We build on it. That 10 people should be 20 people next year. So compound, compound, compound.